Yeah, Bodycam release in Beheading murder case. What?
He just pulled a body out of his car, and it has no head.
What?
I don't know what is going on.
Where'd he go? Right here. Stop.
On July 28, 2021, onlookers in Shakopee, Minnesota would witness a man removing the body of a headless woman from his car. That man would later be identified as Alexis Sabora Viltres, an illegal immigrant from Cuba. Alexis seemed to have a life on the road. He was living in a Travelodge motel nearby with a girlfriend of his, America Thayer. Police recordings investigating the incident hint that they had been living there since December of 2020. People who interacted with Alexis felt uncomfortable, to say the least. Alexis's character fits his criminal record as well, as he has multiple convictions in Minnesota and Louisiana for arson, driving under the influence, fleeing a police officer, and domestic abuse.
Did you see what happened?
Yeah, I did. I tried talking to
Did
the...
it happen just right now here?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Is that real? Or is that fake?
Looks real to me.
Alexis's domestic abuse records span as far back as 2009. At that time, he was arrested for preventing his then-girlfriend from leaving their vehicle by pulling on her hair. He also has another domestic abuse charge in 2011 with a different past living girlfriend. For this girlfriend, he was charged with attempted murder, second-degree kidnapping, false imprisonment with a dangerous weapon, and domestic abuse battery by strangulation. His girlfriend from 2011 was found with a swollen face and a lacerated arm. Reports indicate that the extreme abuse happened in that case due to a belief Alexis had, that his then-girlfriend was cheating on him. Alexis reportedly threw his victim on a bed, suffocated her with a pillow, and repeatedly punched through the pillow, swelling her right eye and lips.
Mad. That's actually
crazy. He then grabbed a large knife, repeatedly told her he was going to kill her, and attempted to stab her, causing the laceration in her arm. Eventually, Alexis's knife broke and the victim was chased throughout their home. Alexis resorted to using a pair of scissors as a weapon. Holes caused by the knife and scissors could be seen throughout the home, including in a door and parts of the bed. A third roommate called the police during this altercation, and Alexis threatened to kill his victim and his roommate if they spoke to the police. After these incidents, ICE had intervened and tried to deport Alexis. However, his home country of Cuba wouldn't approve the necessary travel documents, forcing him to stay within the US.
Wait. They could do that? So America tried deporting him, and then his home country was like, nah, you keep him. They could do that? They could deny... Wait, that's mad.
Wouldn't approve the necessary travel documents, forcing him to stay within the US.
Why did they
Eventually,
deploy him in
Alexis
prison?
was released on an order of supervision. Fast forward to 2017, and Alexis would have a new girlfriend by the name of America Thayer. On July 23rd of that year, America would call law enforcement after a domestic dispute with Alexis. Reportedly, Alexis became angry because he thought she was speaking with another man at the bar they were both patronizing.
Same thing.
When police arrived on scene for that case, Alexis had pinned down America and forced his hand over her mouth because he did not want her speaking with law enforcement. For that incident, Alexis was arrested and a pre-trial no-contact order was put in place. However, just 3 days later, America then wrote a handwritten note asking to have it removed, saying, "I need to be in contact with him to help us, and we will go to any treatment recommended." She highlights that they didn't have problems for 4 years. Unfortunately, it is common for victims of domestic abuse to downplay their own abuse. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, victims of domestic abuse may have a hard time leaving a relationship due to the fear of retaliation, due to manipulation tactics that may make them believe they lack safety or support outside of their partner, or due to mixed feelings of good times or love for their partner despite the abuse. One study listed in the U.S. Department of Justice interviewed men who had killed their partners. Most often, the precipitating events that led to the murder were either threats of separation by their partner or actual separations. Unfortunately, on July 28, 2021, Alexis would contribute to that statistic by killing America and discarding her body in broad daylight.
Wow.
Multiple witnesses were interviewed at the time, and one had even recorded a video on Snapchat of America's head on the road and the rest of her body being thrown out of the car.
And was he the only one in the vehicle? No, well, there's this body laying on the ground. He had a huge knife. He was chopping at something in the car. Had a huge knife. And yes, and he tossed the knife.
Do you know what is crazy though, chat? Like, it didn't seem like he's been in prison for that long for all the stuff he did before this. Do you know what I'm saying? They even tried deporting him. Right? So you know he's, you know, a messed up guy. So why is he not in prison for much longer for the stuff that he's been doing and for the stuff that you tried to deport him for? Why is he just roaming about? He didn't seem like he spent too long in prison. I don't know the exact amount, but...
Nice into the grass. He pulled what looks like a head with hair out of the car, threw it on the ground, and then pulled this body out of the car. Okay, so he threw the head out in this area?
What?
Yes, it's on the ground.
Shortly after that scene, police scattered to find the man responsible.
Recording. Where'd he go? Right here. Stop.
Get on the ground! Get on the
Now! On the ground! Now! Get on the ground! Put your hands out!
Mate,
where we
he's a
can see 'em.
psycho. He's a psycho.
Out like an airplane!
Put them out.
But surely he gets life in prison now.
Do
Surely.
not move!
Life and more.
Do not move! Don't move!
But like, the thing that annoys me, right, it's just too late. Like, it's so annoying. Like, why is you have to wait till someone's dead, someone else that's dead, for it to happen? When he's like, you can tell it's leading up to that. From all the stuff he did before, why is there no prevention in place? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's always too late. You've always got to wait till the worst case scenario. I feel like if somebody is going back and back and back over again, and there's literally a long list of things where like you're like, okay, this guy has like a 90% chance he's going to kill someone, they should be in prison for quite some time. Quite some time. If they're not learning. But it's just, like, this isn't just America, by the way. It's the same in the UK. It's the same in the UK. Like, bro, I know of like situations where women getting beaten up by a boyfriend or something, and he's psycho. He's in prison for a year. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not in prison for long. They don't go to prison for long. And like, they'll keep doing it and just keep going back to prison for short periods of times, and that's it. That's all that happens. It's like a slap on the wrist. Now you can go back out again. Oh, come on in, you've done that again. Slap on the wrist, you can go back out again.
We're gonna take this thing off.
Until something crazy happens, but then someone has to die for that.
Where's the knife at? It's in the bag? Okay.
No, that's true. It does cost too much. No, that's true then. Because in the UK, we've been releasing criminals from prison because of overcrowdedness. Yeah? So why don't we just do a Hunger Games? Prison Hunger Games. 30 people in the Hunger Games, prisoners. The winner gets to keep your spot in the prison. Know what I'm saying? That'll cut down a lot. You obviously start with the worst of the worst. You know what I mean? You don't chuck someone in, it's just robbed a shop, right? In the Hunger Games. You start with the worst of the worst. Hunger Games. There you go. 30 people fight out, bro. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Winner gets to keep their spot in prison.
That's what I was first too. But we believe this.
Solves everything, chat.
What's your first name, sir? Alexi?
Alexis, right? Saburai?
You got your ID in your pocket? All right.
On pay-per-view.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna after the officers finish patting you down here, we're gonna put you in a car and we're gonna go visit with you a little bit here.
We're gonna need a translator.
Later at the station, Alexis confessed to killing America. According to detective notes submitted to the court for evidence, Alexis is captured on video being asked what happened to her head, and Alexis replied, making a cutting motion with his hand across his throat. After the interrogation, investigators interviewed acquaintances of Alexis and America for more information. Patrons of the travel lodge Alexis and America were staying at had noted Alexis had threatened to cut America's head off days prior. Witnesses at the lodge also noted Alexis frequently carried a large knife with him and spent his time in the woods near the hotel. A friend of America's also noted that Alexis faked being mentally ill in order to deceive the courts and receive lesser charges for crimes he had committed in the past, citing Alexis's charge for arson. For that charge,
Wow.
Alexis allegedly set fire to an apartment complex to protest law enforcement in the wake of the George Floyd incident. Now in 2023, Alexis was convicted and found guilty of murder. However, Alexis's defense pushed for the case to consider his sanity. When this happens, the court breaks down the verdict into two parts. The first part asks if the defendant committed the crime. For this, Alexis was found guilty. The second part asks if the defendant was mentally ill under the Minnesota standards. The court found Alexis fit those standards for this case.
What?
Alexis is still guilty of committing the crime, but the office will label him as mentally ill and dangerous. America Thayer's son, Charles Thayer, had this to say about that ruling.
What does it?
It is
how long
tough
does
to
it go in for
understand how
then?
somebody can commit cold-blooded murder, plan to do it, tell everyone they're going to do it, have a motive to do it, and then somehow be considered insane. Should the judge make that determination, Alexis will likely be sent to the Minnesota Security Hospital in St. Peter, which is a secure facility. At the time of editing this video, Alexis is still in custody at the Scott County Jail. The commitment trial is currently scheduled for August 28, 2023.
John, what hotel number?
237.
He's gonna go
I
serve
wonder
a
how long
warrant.
he's in for.
Yes.
So, all right, we'll just leave him. You want to transfer him back?
That's crazy there, bro. I wonder how long. He's got to be. Yeah, it's 2025 now. He's got to be in there for a long time, though.